Today we're talking about the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Complexion Powder, and I am so excited to share my thoughts with you, so if you're interested, just keep on watching. Hola mi gente, it's Mariluz here, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I post every Friday either makeup tutorials, makeup reviews, or any other makeup related content to help you on your makeup journey. And in today's video, we are going to talk about the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Complexion Powder. I have been testing this baby out for the past few days, and I feel like I already gathered my thoughts and have so much to share, so let's get right into this video. Now this is the packaging right here. It looks really similar to the liquid form. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it looks really similar. It says Born This Way on the sides, Too Faced on the front, and when you open it, it also says Born This Way engraved on top. Mine is a little used, so it's not as perfect, but I did want to show you how it looks like when first opened up. It comes with a mirror, and underneath it comes with a little sponge, and the sponge has two sides. I don't know if you can tell there. I tried to zoom in as much as possible. Mine is a little used, but it has like a more spongier side, and then on the other side it looks more like a microfiber cloth. It has like this really smooth surface and touch to it. It is made that way to give you two different types of coverage. One is supposed to give you like a full coverage, and the other one is supposed to give you like a medium coverage. Now the powder costs $37 for 0.35 ounces, and it comes in 25 shades. I don't know if you've tested or know about the liquid form, but the liquid form comes in 35 shades. So there are 10 shades missing. Hopefully they come up with more. But so far, I do feel like they did an amazing job on color matching. I am sand on the liquid form, and on the powder form, I was sand as well. I was a little scared when I picked it up because I thought it was going to be a little lighter, but it's actually the same exact shade. So I was really excited about it. I almost went a shade up, and I'm glad I did. Now it does claim to be a full coverage formula, but you can use it for different things. You can use it for touch-ups by itself, or you can use it like in top of a liquid form foundation to give you like that extra coverage. So that's why it's called multi-use. So even though it is a full coverage, you can manipulate it to be a lighter, medium to full. Now it's also infused with coconut water as the liquid form, so I thought it was pretty amazing. And when I see this, I feel like Jared Blandino heard us. I don't know if you have that vibe, and also I don't know if you have used the liquid form. I have used the liquid form, and I loved the liquid foundation. I felt like it was a really nice formula, very beautiful, but sadly it was not the best for oily skin girls like me. So I always felt like oily skin girls needed a version for them, and I feel like they come up with this, and I'm pretty excited for it. I wish I could test it on top of that liquid foundation to see if it makes it last more, but so far I have used it by itself, and this is how it looks like so far. Now I don't have a wear test for you guys because actually I'm sorry, but I didn't have the time to do a wear test on my filming day, but I do show you how I applied it. I also show you some clips of before and afters because I have tested it at Disney. I mean, what else is new, right? And I also tested it at work, and I do want to share my thoughts with you, so here it is. Okay guys, so I did my eyebrows off camera and they're a little wonky. They're not cooperating, so I'm gonna move on. I'm not going to be too perfectionist with them. I also prepped my skin with a little bit of my gel moisturizer and my Smashbox Photo Finish primer. And I also put some concealer first because I didn't know how it was going to apply after the powder, so I did it before. I did apply it to prime my eyelids and a little bit underneath my, like on my under eyes, and I apply it with a brush this time. I usually do it with a beauty sponge. I just wanted to test something different today, so I did apply it with the brush. And I think we're pretty much ready for the Too Faced complexion powder. I have it right here. Now the sponge inside has like two sides, one for like full coverage and the other one for like medium coverage. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to use like the full coverage on this side, medium coverage on that side, and then I'm going to try to apply it with a brush on this side so you guys can see the difference between all of them. So as you can see, I've used both sides to test the difference, but I'm going to demonstrate it for you. So starting off with this side, I'm going to use like the more spongier side to apply it as a full coverage so you guys can see how it covers. And then I'm going to apply it up to like this high so I don't cover like the concealer. Now my skin is on a good place today, so I don't have to cover like a lot of pimples. I do have one that is like drying out here and one that is kind of forming there, but it's not that bad. But I don't know if you can tell, it does cover pretty well. Not like a disappearing act, but at least it does cover a little bit over here. And then compared to this side, this is how my skin is looking. It does feel really smooth, that I'm gonna say. I don't know, I feel like it looks very natural. Now I am applying like 2 or 3 layers to cover as much as possible. And I feel like this is one of the cons of the powder. Like, in order to get a really nice full coverage, you have to apply a lot. I think this is like 3 or 4 layers, and this is as a full coverage as I think I'm gonna get. I can probably layer more, but at least it doesn't look cakey, so it does build pretty well. It does look matte, obviously, because it's a powder. So yeah, so far so good. I don't have any complaints at all. I do feel though, like, as if I always go up more than I should, and I try not to. Like, I feel like I need to highlight this area a little more than anything. You could probably do this with like some banana powder or even like that Kat Von D contour powder. But yeah, so I'm gonna move on to this other side, and I do have a bunch to cover here. I do not have any pimples or any active acne, but I do have a lot of scarring still. So we're gonna see how that covers it up. I'm gonna use the other side of the sponge. This is like the more felty side. So this is like almost 2 layers. I think I'm going to stop here, but I've applied from 4 to 5 layers, so I believe that is a lot of powder. But this is how it's looking on this side, and then compared to the other side. Now, if you're testing this area over here, I'm going to take a flat kabuki brush. I have used this brush before, but I want to apply it and have you see how it works. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but it is more like a really light coverage. And when I'm using a brush, I've used it more like a touch-up kind of deal, but at least took some shine. I don't have like much to cover here, but you can see like there's a more lighter coverage on my forehead compared to like the bottom. But I don't know, I don't like this. I'm trying to like make my face even because I just feel like it just looked weird like that. So I'm just going to apply a little bit more on my eye area and maybe use like a banana powder. So this is me zoomed all the way in. Sorry about my brows again. But this is how my face is looking. This is like with the microfiber part of the sponge. And this is with the other, like the spongier side of the sponge. And then you have my forehead with a brush. So usually I don't care how my under eye looks like when I'm applying this foundation, but today I feel like I should do something else. So I'm going to apply a little bit of my Kat Von D contour palette using the shade Lyric. This one right over here. It's like a yellow powder. I just want to brighten up that under eye area. See if it works. It did something, not like a huge deal, but at least some brightness, right? And so I'm going to continue with the face. I'm going to apply a little bit of my bronzer. I just want you to see how my face looks when applying all the products on top. I do feel like the foundation powder or the complexion powder is really nice, very buttery. Overall, my face feels really smooth and like, I don't know, like even when I touch it, it doesn't feel like I have powder on it. It feels very natural, very lightweight. I don't feel like I have anything on my face at the moment, but I do want you to see how my bronzer layers on top. I'm gonna apply it as always. So when I'm applying my bronzer, I do feel like I have to apply a lot, and I think it's because I have layered so much powder on my face trying to get some coverage so that nothing else sticks to the powder. Like, I don't know, I'm going pretty hard and I have like a decent amount of coverage. I maybe in the camera you can see it a little bit more harsher, but in real life, like I feel like I have nothing like that pops up or that noticeable. Usually when I'm using a liquid foundation and I use this Hola bronzer, it shows up pretty much immediately, and I have to be really careful and blend it in with like my beauty sponge or something like that to make sure that I have no harsh lines. But since we're dealing with powder over powder, I don't know, I just feel like everything else just doesn't look right with it, or at least the other products that I am so used to using. Okay, so I went a little heavy-handed with the bronzer just to make it show up a little bit. I do like that the complexion powder does stay in. You know, like when I'm blending the bronzer, like the foundation or the complexion powder does not rub off. So I think that's really promising and really nice. Next, I'm going to apply my blush and my highlighter. I have been using the Becca mineral brush in the shade Wild Honey. I don't feel like it layers very well with this foundation, so I'm going to try another one, but this is the one that I've been testing out for these few days, and I don't know, it doesn't look that great to be honest. So I'm going to try the Too Faced Love Flush blush in the shade I Will Always Love You. This is like a more peachy one. Maybe it will help us to make it show up on our skin. See, I feel like this one shows up a little more and better. I think the other one is just like closer to my skin tone, like a more bronzy kind of blush, and it doesn't pop, you know. Next, I'm going to move on with the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Press. This is a highlighter in the shade Opal. I do like this color a lot. I'm going to show you how it looks on my face. Then I'm going to show you how this Becca liquid highlighter works on top of my skin, because I do feel like if you want to have a really healthy glow, you might gonna need a liquid form of highlighter, like a really nice one. This is a really good one. I do enjoy it. I don't use it too much, but in this case, I feel like I may need to use it. I've been using the Opal highlighter and it doesn't show up as much. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to take my F35 from Sigma and I'm going to apply it on this area of my cheekbones. So I don't know if you can tell, but it just doesn't, I don't know. There's something there that I don't like. I just don't like how it layers. Now, if I use a liquid form of highlighter, which I'm going to use now, I feel like it just pops it more, makes it look more natural. I'm going to use this nice Flawless Concealer brush from e.l.f. and I'm going to just apply 1 pump, like maybe half a pump. I'm going to apply it on the high points of my face. And you would think it doesn't blend well because I'm putting cream on top of powder, but it actually blends really nicely. So I'm just blending it in really like carefully, more like stippling it in. And now I'm just swirling a little bit to blend it. This liquid highlighter does dry a little more as a powder, so I'm just like blending it in. I did went a little lower there, so I may need to like apply some blush. So now I'm not blending it with a bigger brush. I may need to apply some blush here just because I just went a little lower. But I don't know if you can tell the difference between the liquid highlighter, like how natural it glows compared to the powder highlighter. Like it just sits on top and it doesn't blend that well with the powders. So that is literally my perception. Let me know in the comments, how do you apply like other products? Do you use cream products or do you use powder on top of powder? Because this is one of the complaints that I've had for the past few days trying to test this complexion powder. It's like my highlighter is just dying out there. Like, what is going on? Maybe I would need to like apply my highlighter after the setting spray just to like make it melt and then apply everything else. But in terms of highlighter, I like this side a lot better than this powder side. You let me know in the comments if you agree. And I just feel blah. I like the complexion powder, don't get me wrong. I do feel like it feels very buttery. The skin looks very smooth. I mean, if you look at the claims here, it says immediately after using 96% said this formula felt comfortable on skin, which I do agree. It does feel really comfortable, very lightweight. It says after using for 1 week, 95% said this formula helped control shine. I don't know about that. I have tested it out at Disney and at work, and it didn't control shine as much as I would think so. 90% said this formula provided natural coverage, which is true. I mean, I did apply a lot of layers to be completely honest, but I do feel like it looks very natural on the skin, especially if you just use like very lightly. And then 91% said this formula made skin look smoother, and it does feel smoother. I don't know if the camera is capturing it. Sometimes I feel like the camera doesn't capture it too well. from my point of view, it does look very smooth. I didn't even apply a primer for my pores, and my pores don't show. It's not clinging on any dry patches. Sometimes I do feel like powders do cling into dry patches. This one is not that bad to be a powder. So I kept my makeup really simple and natural. I am going to wipe this away in just a few minutes, so I'm not going to do a wear test, but I do want to show you some before and after clips because I have used the foundation to go to Disney, and I also used it for work. I feel like if I don't feel comfortable using a foundation to work, I'm not gonna like it. So first I'm going to show you how the powder looked like before going to Disney. I know my hair was a mess, but I was planning on not even putting makeup at all that day. I just wanted to test the foundation out for you guys, so I just decided to just slap it in and do my makeup really quickly. So don't judge my makeup too much. But this is how the powder looks like before. I did apply a few layers with the spongier side, so I was looking for more like that full coverage effect of the complexion powder. It was a really hot day, I'm not gonna lie, and I planned on having like a short day, but we actually were at the parks from like around 9:30 to almost 4 o'clock. And it was hot, you guys. I think the highest was like 94, so that is really hot. And we were walking a lot, so I do feel like it didn't control shine as much as I would think it was going to be since it's a powder foundation, but it did last it pretty well. I feel like it just looked really natural. I mean, this is something that I would use as a BB cream, but in a powder form, if that makes sense. You know, at the end of the day, it did feel like it rubbed off in some places and it didn't stay as full coverage as the beginning, but it was trying to like hang on to its life. I do feel like it did last it for a little while. It's not like it was a really huge difference from something to completely nothing. You know, you can still see that I did have some foundation hanging onto my skin. Now in terms of work, this is how it would look like before I go to work. It doesn't look really heavy or anything like that. It can be, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it can be perceived as a liquid foundation because I do feel like from afar it does feel like it's a more liquid. Again, I just don't like how the highlighter looks or other products on top of it, like the blush or the bronzer. It doesn't look as much as if I were to use my Estee Lauder Double Wear, but it did hold up pretty well at work. I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I want to rub this foundation off. I had to blot like twice maybe, and I didn't touch up with any powders. I just blotted maybe twice, I'm pretty sure, like not, I don't think more than that, and it did look pretty well. So overall, I do feel like the foundation is pretty nice. I feel like it does what it claims to do. And if you have like really prominent acne or maybe a lot of scarring, it may not cover it as much as you would love to, and you may need to make sure that you moisturize your skin so it doesn't cling to dry patches, if that makes sense. Now my first impressions of this powder weren't that great, I feel like, because I just used a little bit, but the more I layered it up and now that I've been testing it for these few days and with this makeup, I just feel like it's a really nice complexion powder. I also do feel like you may go through this a lot. I don't know. I may test it for a while, see how much it lasts, but I do have to use a lot to get it to this level. So I may need to use more than I should. I do want to see how it lasts compared to my liquid foundation. So if you guys want an update on this, let me know. Now keep in mind, I did not put any setting spray. I usually do, but I just ran out of mine and it looks really natural. Like it doesn't look powdery. So I don't know. So far, I am enjoying this foundation. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. Let me know if you want an update of this foundation. Now if you want to see more from this channel, I'm going to leave you 2 videos right here so you can check them out. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification button. That way you get notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.